Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're taking a look at a article from Warhammer community, but more importantly we're going to transition and take a look at a recent topic and some changes and possibly what the future holds. So before we get started, if you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and warcry content, as well as Horus Heresy, pretty much anything to do with Games Workshop and their tabletop games. So Horus Heresy Thursday, trick out your Imperial Fists with a bespoke Mk6 Heads and Pouldrons. So here we have some new basically like styles of heads and optional upgrade kits here. So we see the Mk6 Heads for the Imperial Fists specifically. Most of these heads appear to be overall generic, but this one does obviously have the Imperial Fist logo on there as well. So again, useful for like Crimson Fists or other potential successor chapters, etc. So we see this first set is just heads. It's 11 Legion specific upgrade parts. So we can assume they're probably going to do this for a bunch of different legions. And then if we just scoot on down here, we see also we have a shoulder pad set as well. And again, this one is 10 Legion specific upgrade parts. And this is the shoulder pads. Again, just that same symbol on there for the Imperial Fist. Again, could be used for some other ones as well. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But regardless, not much in the actual article here. But maybe this is kind of telling us, obviously we can expect if they're doing this for Imperial Fist, we could expect to see it for a bunch of other factions as well. But it kind of makes me think of what's been going on lately and sort of the trend that we've been seeing, and potentially speculate as to what could be coming into the future. So if we go over to Games Workshop's website, we can just kind of take a look at what upgrade sprues or frames are available currently and see what we could expect into the future and potentially what kind of changes, etc. And then we'll wrap up with where I think it's going to eventually go. So we have our Blood Angel upgrade pack right here. Has some cool accessories, has some shoulder pads, has some heads, some different chest plates, and then little bit like accessories as well. We see Noise Rain upgrade pack. This is old school, just to turn your regular Chaos Marines into Noise Marines basically. And then we see here Zangors to turn your Zangors from Zangor blades and whatnot into pistols and swords to like basically bring them to the 40k universe. Ultramarines, again we have shoulder pads, heads, and a couple accessories. And then we started to see the Primaris upgrade frames coming out as well. So then we basically saw we would have like a regular upgrade pack and then a Primaris upgrade pack. And then we would see essentially like some different shoulder pads, maybe to fit on different guys, or some various heads, or slightly different, arm bits, etc., weapon bits. So you could fit basically some of these on like aggressors or inceptors or something like that, as well as your regular bros. And then we have like Gene Circle upgrade frame, again with some heads and random stuff. Blood Angel Primaris, again we see like pretty similar thing. A couple heads, couple shoulder pads, couple weapons, and some accessories. And then the Primaris upgrades, and we can kind of just go through here and see that they basically have branched out into a bunch of the factions for 40k and now offer these upgrade sets. So we already saw the regular upgrade set. Here we see for the Ultramarines, here we see the Primaris upgrade set. So right around $15 to like $17 for those upgrade sets, with roughly, this has 9 shoulder pads in it and 3 heads and then some other accessories. If we scroll on down here, we see they later came out with a little bit more full sets like this. So you have like the Iron Hands Primaris upgrade and transfers. So you would now get a transfer sheet and then 2 of the Primaris upgrade frames basically. So if we break this down, this is essentially just 2 of the exact same frames. We can see it's basically divided down the middle. And for the Iron Hands, they essentially have, 5, 8, 10, so 20. So it would be 10 shoulder pads in the pack again, and then roughly 3 heads, etc., etc. So very much the same thing, just like a double pack of them with transfers as well. And then we get into like the Necromunda ones here, where again we have like the Necromunda. There's a bunch of heads on each of these, a bunch of accessories, but then we see all like the special weapons and everything coming as well. So that has kind of transitioned us into what we're seeing now, being shown off basically, which is the various upgrade frames as well. So we see as we get into these, 27, and the Black Templars one is even more fancy. It has a bunch of extra weapons in there as well. It is a double up, and then it goes up to the $35 price point. So seeing all these, obviously we can see that GW is finally listening and giving people what they want, which is upgrade frames to make chapter specific out of generic models. So back to the article we see here. So we're seeing here basically they have like these head sprues. So we don't know what the head sprues are going to cost roughly. We see 10 head sprues in it. Most of the other sprues, when they had heads, it was like 3 or 4, but then you got a bunch of other stuff. And then again, same thing with the shoulder pads. Here we see 10 shoulder pads. Most of the other shoulder pad sets came with like roughly 10 shoulder pads, but mixed in with some other stuff, and we see the price points. So I think it's safe to assume we could expect these little packages to be somewhere between $15 to $20 roughly. But regardless of all those, these are all cool. It's cool to have like the chapter upgrades. It's cool to have the various heads and everything. But I think the most important thing is we saw them tease some weapons recently and like some weapon packs. We did a little video on that and kind of talked about it as well. But I think that is going to be where they go with 40K as well, which is going to be huge, because obviously we see there's a couple of weapons in these little 40K packs already, but nothing particularly like crazy. It's not like special weapons or anything like that. It's more like just making it so you could have extra stalker bolt rifles, or like cool chain swords instead of your regular ones, or you know, he's holding a couple heads. Here we see like upgrades for some of our other models. So we have like you know, the crazy sword that's specifically built for the oh, I can't think of his name, but he came in the Indominus set. We see a bunch of shotguns for like their novitiates or versions of scouts. And then again, the Necromunda ones, we see the heavy weapons, multi-meltas, plasma cannons, and a bunch of special weapons. And that was recently teased for Horus Heresy as well. So I think that this could be the beginning of them potentially selling weapon upgrade kits for Warhammer 40K as well. So I think it's just a matter of time until we get that. And you know, you might be asking, well, what weapon upgrade kits do you need? They already come with so many cool upgrades and weapons, etc. But you know, we've talked about this previously, but with like the Sisters of Battle Adeptus Sororitas, like Retributors, you only get 2 multi-meltas in the Retributor kit, and you don't get any in the regular Sisters kit. And you could potentially take 1 in your Sisters of Battle squad, or turn 1 squad into 2 and potentially need 2 of them if you bought a 10 Sister squad. Or if you bought the Retributor squad, you know, you may want 4 multi-meltas in the kit and it only comes with 2. So now you have to buy another Retributor squad, or source some bits, or 3D print, or whatever your alternatives are. And that's basically GW missing out on sales, because there's something people want to buy and they don't offer it. So then your only choice is to buy the kit again, and then now you have, you know, 10 sisters, you only need 5 for your squad, and now you have your 4 multi-meltas. So we've seen that again with Chaos, with the what is it, the Reaper chain cannon? I can't think of what it's called, but it's, yeah, the Reaper chain cannon maybe, or something like that. We've seen it with a lot of the various kits as well. You know, Space Marine kits, I think the heavy weapon squads come with 2 of each weapon. So again, you probably want redundancy, so maybe you want 4 multi-meltas or 4 grav cannons, or whatever the case is. So I think that we're going to see GW start selling these upgrade kits for 40K as well. And, you know, that would obviously be pretty cool. Definitely would be excited to see that. I think that would be a huge step in the right direction. But I think just the weapon upgrade kits, if you have a bunch of special weapons or a bunch of heavy weapons, and similar to what they're doing with Horus Heresy, I think that's going to be big. It's big for the hobby. It's big for sales for them. Because a lot of people would honestly purchase those weapons at a reasonable price, but they're just not offered. So they then have to outsource, either buying from someone who's parting out kits or has extra bits for sale, or potentially 3D printing, or potentially buying from a third party. So that's just money basically that Games Workshop is giving away because they don't offer those items. So I think that that's a speculation. That's my idea, or you know, where I think they're going to go with it. Some kind of pack like this. Very similar to what we've seen with Horus Heresy, where you're going to potentially get like 20 or 30 weapons in a box. We don't know what the price is going to be or anything like that, but it's going to come with, you know, 10 of each weapon. 10 plasma guns, 10 melta-guns, 10 flamers, you know, etc. So if we see something like that for 40K, I think that would be absolutely huge. You know, if we basically saw them start selling those upgrade kits where you could buy 10 multi-meltas or 10 plasma cannons or 10 heavy bolters and some sort of like packs with them included, or even just individual sets of 5 or 10 weapons, however they end up doing it. But I think that's probably coming into the future. They started doing it with Necromunda a while back, and they have obviously expanded to where they have them for essentially all the gangs now. And then obviously we see some of the weapons, like for instance, we see special weapons like the flame pistols and the thunder hammers for salamanders, because normally you might not have those bits. They also are like a little customized towards salamanders. And again, that's sort of like the beginning of them doing these special upgrade frames for the chapters. And they're still kind of crossing over like helmets, shoulder pads, and weapons. I think in the future we will probably see something like generic weapons that any, you know, Space Marines could use, or, you know, whatever for different factions, extra, you know, seismic cannons or whatever it is that you might want for those factions. And then also seeing the continuation or possibly like separation of like the head upgrade kits and you know, possibly the shoulder pads as well. So but that's it. Basically just wanted to speculate a little bit, talk about this. We're obviously seeing a trend and some changes from Games Workshop, so I figured it was worth talking about. There's not a ton in the article. They're basically just showing off a couple things, so it wasn't exciting as basically talking about this. So let me know what you think down below. Always curious to hear your guys' opinions, thoughts, comments. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But do appreciate all of the new subscribers. Channel has been growing extremely fast, and I'm extremely grateful for that. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. If you do enjoy this kind of content on speculation for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, warcry, anything from painting, modeling, conversion, tutorials, make sure to like and subscribe. That's it for today, Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.